what's up YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Steph growing in Zone 6B. If you are here for the first time, welcome for the first time. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. So, I was out here kind of patching up my greenhouse a little bit, and I thought about, some of the things that I wish I would have knew, or some of the things that I wanted to know prior to purchasing a greenhouse. So I thought I would pop on real quick and kind of go through my experience with you, tell you what I did, and maybe kind of give you some tips on what I experienced, some of the things I look for, and the pros and cons. So let's get right into it. So first of all, I have had my greenhouse for 1 year. Prior to me buying this greenhouse, I had a small greenhouse like design that fits over just a single bed. So I purchased that so that my seedlings could get adequate sunlight when it got really, really cold outside, and that they would be able to get that natural light and just kind of get that boost of energy, if you will, before the growing season actually starts. So in Zone 6B, Ohio, if you are not familiar with this zone, it gets down average winter temperature to about 30-ish degrees or so in the winter. Technically, you can grow all season long, even though people say that it's too cold to grow in Ohio. It's not. Even when it snows with the proper protection, hardy vegetables like carrots, kale, collards will grow all winter long, even if it snowed on it on top of it. So that's first and foremost. So when I started shopping for a greenhouse, I started shopping for a greenhouse because I wanted to extend my growing season. So in Ohio, because it really doesn't get to be planting season till like May, I wanted my seedlings to go outside. So I typically start most of my crops from seed around January, February, depending on what it is. And so I wanted to use that greenhouse to get those seedlings outdoors, or even with the upcoming season, since this would be the first spring, go ahead and start some seedlings outside. So instead of just having it clogging up my growth space in the house. So I have a small greenhouse. It is like a 10 by 12, I believe. I think it's a 10 by 12 greenhouse. It is small. I can show you guys what that looks like. In fact, I will, instead of me getting up, what I'll do is I'll pop a picture of that greenhouse for you in this video so that you see what it looks like. It's small on the greenhouse, and on the inside it fits just a few shelves, and I'll take some pictures of that setup when I'm done recording this video. So the first thing that you want to consider is, how much space do you have for a greenhouse, and how much sun do you have? So prior to me starting to plant, I tracked my sun to see where I got maximum sun, where I could put a greenhouse in a small space, and because I didn't want my greenhouse to be in the way, but I wanted to have it. Also, I checked to see if I wanted plastic, if I wanted polycarbonate, and if I wanted glass. So your plastic option greenhouse is going to be your cheapest, more cost-effective greenhouse. That greenhouse comes in an array of sizes. From my experience with the plastic greenhouses, they don't last very long. They do rip pretty quickly, and they have the tendency to blow away if you don't anchor them down well. So from what I've seen, I didn't want to spend the money on that greenhouse because it just did not suit my needs. I wanted something a little bit more sturdy, and so ultimately I went with a polycarbonate greenhouse. So a polycarbonate greenhouse is a thicker plastic material greenhouse. The polycarbonate has ridges in it. Bugs out here. Polycarbonate has ridges in it. It is double walled, which means that when you look at the side of your greenhouse panels, it will be 2 panels thick. So I'll pop a picture of that as well so that you see what that looks like. Um, the polycarbonate greenhouse tends to be a little more expensive. So for my greenhouse, it costs about $300 or so for a 10 by 12. Um, that's kind of expensive. It was kind of expensive for me, but I had to also consider that I do have a small space. And so, I thought about where I might be able to put that greenhouse and, how it would hold up to my average frost. So I didn't want something so thin where I had to have a ton of heat in there. And so that's why I went with the size that I went with, is because I grow in a small space and I could not fit anything really too much larger than what I have. And B, if I needed to heat it, I didn't want to have this huge high electric bill, because that kind of defeats the purpose. If I'm going to do that, then I might as well um, just run my grow station in the house. Or if I'm going to run both, I want it to be as cost effective as possible. So for that greenhouse, I went ahead and purchased the polycarbonate for those reasons. The third kind of greenhouse is a glass greenhouse. Glass greenhouses lets more light in than the polycarbonate. So the polycarbonate greenhouse, even though it lets some light in, it doesn't let maximum light in because the material of the polycarbonate is a little bit thicker. It's not as transparent. It's kind of like a film, like a light translucent film almost. Um, so it doesn't let as much light into the greenhouse as the glass. The glass greenhouses that I seen, I cannot afford. Uh, they are very expensive. I also, thinking about the size, I didn't know where I would put that. I am looking into building my own glass greenhouse. Now, I'm going to preference by saying I don't have any building skills, guys. So this would be, so Red Robin, this would be a new skill that I would have to learn. I would have to, research it some more. I've been doing it for a while, but it seems feasible, like something that I might be able to do, and with maybe a little bit of help. So if you have, like, one of the things that I was considering, if you have like a contracting school where they do woodworking, you may want to, like, maybe recruit some students if they need hours to help you build a greenhouse. That was also something that I was looking into as well, or somebody who does woodworking on the side or something like that. So the glass greenhouse is going to let more light in, but from my research, it is actually not as warm as the polycarbonate, double wall polycarbonate, from what I read, which I really found that to be surprising, considering I thought that the glass would be, more efficient, heat efficient. Now, if you're going to source window panes, from Facebook Marketplace or secondhand, I would not go anything less than like a double pane, a thicker glass for a window, so that you get the maximum amount of efficiency when it comes to heat sources. So those are the three types of greenhouses. That's why I went and chose the one that I chose. When it comes to heating your greenhouse, you will need to heat your greenhouse depending on what you're growing in there. If you're growing cold hardy crops, you probably won't need to heat your greenhouse. But what I will tell you is I had some collards in my greenhouse last season, and we had an Arctic frost, and without the heat, it did kill two of my collard green plants. So, if you are considering um, a greenhouse without the heat, just know that it may only be a few degrees temperature higher than what is currently outside. Don't think that you're going to get a greenhouse and it's going to be super warm in there like it is on the inside of your house. It won't be that. You will need some kind of heat source, or you will have to grow vegetables that's conducive to the weather. Another thing to consider is in the spring and the summertime, it is going to get very hot. My greenhouse is very small. It gets over 100 degrees even with the window open, even with the door open. It gets well over 100 degrees. If you're considering buying a greenhouse, what I did was put a box fan in there, and it brought that heat index down significantly. I realized that not everybody has access to electricity, so that's why I am mentioning that. You may want to do like solar panel fans, which I've heard, they are great if you get a lot of sun. The downsides of that is they are just that. They are solar powered. So if you don't get a lot of sun, they will not run effectively without being fueled by the sun. So something to consider with that as well. You also want to make sure that you put your greenhouse on a sturdy surface. So, concrete. If you're going to put it on grass, make sure that it's anchored to something. If you choose a plastic or a polycarbonate greenhouse, it needs to have a sturdy base so that it does not blow away. I am telling you that from experience because my greenhouse in the middle of winter with my plants in there, my seedlings in there, I was outside in the middle of a snowstorm trying to anchor my greenhouse down. It is no fun to do that. It's also not fun to wake up the next day and your greenhouse is blown over and all of your plants and your hard work has gone to waste. So you want to make sure that it's properly secured as well. Now, with all that being said, I really do love having a greenhouse. I love having it. It was kind of, the one that I have was kind of my first adventure into the greenhouse life. And so now I know what to expect. I know that if I have my seedlings in there and it's getting over 100 degrees, I need to have some kind of air circulation. I also know that if I have, frost tender plants in there, that I need to have some kind of heat source, whether it be a small a small heater, or some kind of rocks or bricks. Some people use that heat source. So the idea about it is the pavers heat up in the daytime when it's warm in there, and then at night it will go ahead and emit that heat off in the greenhouse. So I know that that's a thing as well. People also, if you have a large enough greenhouse, you can put like a black painted or already black 55-gallon drum of water in there, or it's maybe a 25-gallon drum to heat your greenhouse. That is another option as well. It really just depends on what your purpose is for buying the greenhouse. For me, it is just to extend my growing season. I also have a Meyer lemon tree that I don't want to bring in and out of the house, because when you bring things from outside in the house, then you have to rinse it off and you have to maybe change the soil because of bugs and so forth. So it's really nice for that option as well. And what I will say is I did not have to harden off my vegetable seedlings. So with the greenhouse, the nice perk is, I was able to, soon as like by February, all of my seedlings were in the greenhouse and they were growing fine, and they were way more mature than what they would be if I had just kind of a standalone greenhouse. So, if I just kind of left them in the house to grow until May. So, those are kind of my pros and cons of greenhouse. I would say do your homework before you get it. I definitely have enjoyed having my greenhouse. I may go to a polytunnel next year. Who knows? Y'all have to stay tuned. if you found this information helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions about, growing in a greenhouse or having a greenhouse, please let me know. I am happy to answer whatever questions you have. And hopefully I will see you guys on the next video. All right, take care and bye for now.